and welcome back to my channel, True Crime and Trials, where I discuss true crime and trials. My name's Lindsay and I am back with more Durst trial witnesses, and I have two for you in this video. It's not a long one, not like the other two. First up is Laraine Newman again, and we start with a cross-examination. And so according to Mr. Chesnoff, in interviews with the state, Laraine had never told them about Susan telling her that Cathy had had an accident. The accident part was part of a hypothetical that Mr. Lewin had put forward to her when he'd interviewed her. This is what the defence is saying. Jarecki and Smerling wanted to talk to Laraine, but she refused, and the reason for this was when she watched All Good Things, it suggested that Susan had blackmailed Bob. Then the cross moves on to her drug habits, and she had been taking drugs since she was 14 up until she was 36, which she agrees will have affected her memory. Then it is brought to light that she had said to Mr. Lewin in the interview she had with him in 2015, she had said to him that she had had a successful drug career, which she honestly seems mortified about. I mean, you can't see her with the masks on, but you can just see by her body language. And she just says, I can't have said that. And then she says if she did say that, she must have been joking. So that part of the interview is read out, and this is how it goes. She says, let me just clarify that, but you know my memory, and I'm 63, and I had a really successful drug career from the age of 14 to 35. After this is read, Laraine says she was being facetious. So Mr. Chesnoff asks her if she was being facetious when she told Mr. Lewin that her brain is just trashed. Laraine doesn't remember saying it, and I think she's really mortified, even more than, her drug use over those years. I think she's mortified about even actually saying anything like that and it coming out. Also, in this interview with Mr. Lewin, Laraine did say that Susan told stories and loved to exaggerate. Her stories would get more and more crazy, and Susan even told her once that her family sold her to gypsies. And again, Susan did take back the story about the alibi, but Laraine also said Susan was so capable of hyperbole that she didn't even know what she may or may not have told her was the truth. So the redirect. So you heard the defence tried to insinuate that it was Mr. Lewin that brought up. Well, you didn't hear because I didn't cover the alibi bit, but we go over the alibi. But Laraine says it was actually her that brought it up and not Mr. Lewin, and she is still 100% sure that what Susan told her was true. So, he implied about the accident and not the alibi, so I don't know if they've got it mixed up or it's the same thing. But it wasn't Mr. Lewin that implied it, which made her come up with this story. It was, in fact, her that brought it up first. Hope you followed that. And as for her saying that Susan rescinded what she had told her, it was because Laraine didn't approve and Susan didn't want to be in trouble with her. Basically, this whole testimony was about her drug use. And although she said her memory had been affected, had it caused her to falsely say that Susan had told her that story, or was it something she had thought true but wasn't? So all along, they're trying to discredit her. Basically, her drug use has affected her memory and she's made it up, and Susan didn't tell her that at all. So next up is Randy Burrows, and he was part of the dive team in Galveston with Sheriff's Department, and when he became involved in the Galveston case, he was told that some body parts had already been found. He was told he would be looking for any other pieces of evidence, but mainly the head. The area he searched is in this picture here, and he says he searched the area where he knew that if a head had been thrown in there, it would be more or less in that area, because he says a head would sink and it would move towards the shore. Randy says that all areas were thoroughly searched and obviously no head was found. And he says in the water there was no visual. It was all searched by touch. In his opinion, the head was not thrown in the same spot at the same time as the other body parts, and he has no doubt about this. There is no aquatic life in that water that would be able to run off with the head either. So the cross-examination, there were 3 bags that were found that were empty, that were found not too far away, but away from where the other body parts were found, and they had big slashes in them, which Randy wasn't aware of at the time, but he found out about these before the trial in Galveston. But this next bit I do find it odd, that he was actually head of the dive team, and Randy didn't know what the tides had been that day, which you'd think he would have to have, a better idea of the search area. And nor did he know if the tide was in or out that day, so I do find that a bit odd. There are shrimp boats operating out there, but they wouldn't be in that area because it was just too shallow. So there we go. Yeah, odd that he didn't know what tides there had been that day. I mean, he's head of the dive team, so you'd think that would have factored in with his decisions of where to search, but hey ho. So that's me up to date as far as I can be at the moment. I'm nearly there. I know they're not on doing the trial on Fridays, so I will try my best to shuffle along and get as close to catching up as I can. So until then, have a great weekend and I will see you all soon. So until then, bye for now.